Okay, let's unpack this. We are looking at something today that is absolutely massive.
Hmm.
And I don't just mean the price tag, though. Believe me, we are definitely going to get to the money.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the sheer physical presence of this thing, we're talking about a project that is uh, literally reshaping the skyline of West Palm Beach as we speak.
It's a significant disruption, that's for sure. We're taking a look at the Olara project.
Hmm.
And what makes this deep dive so fascinating is that we aren't just looking at the pretty pictures today.
Right.
We're looking at a tale of two towers, essentially.
A tale of two towers. I like that.
Yeah.
Because usually when we look at these mega developments, we're just getting the marketing pitch. But today, we've got two very different stacks of paper in front of us.
Totally different.
In my left hand, I've got the glossy, high-end marketing brochure. You know, the type thick, cardstock, beautiful fonts, promising the soul of a luxury resort.
It paints a picture of absolute paradise.
It really does.
And in the other stack, we have something a little more gritty. We've got a confidential boots-on-the-ground update. And it's dated February 2026.
So, right now.
Exactly. This isn't a forecast anymore. This is happening.
So let's set the scene for you. It is February 2026. If you're driving down Flagler Drive in West Palm Beach, you can't miss it.
No way.
Construction is active. The report says the 6th floor is currently going up. Now, to me, the 6th floor just sounds like, well, the beginning. Why does that specific milestone matter?
It matters because in high-rise construction, especially waterfront, the first few floors are usually the podium.
Okay, so parking, lobby, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Parking, utilities. Once you hit the 6th floor, you are starting the vertical ascent of the residential tower itself. That's the moment the building stops being a hole in the ground and starts becoming a permanent feature of the landscape. And that is where the tension lies in our sources today. We're seeing this clash between the marketing promise of timeless elegance and what the locals were starting to call the concrete curtain.
The concrete curtain. That sounds ominous. It sounds like something from the Cold War, not the Sunshine State.
It's a strong phrase.
But before we get to the curtain, let's talk about the dream. Because looking at this brochure, the dream looks pretty incredible. The architecture is by Arquitectonica, and the interiors are by Gabellini Shepherd. I know those names are supposed to impress me, but help me out here. What's the pedigree?
I mean, they're heavy hitters. Arquitectonica is known for bold, modern shapes. Think of the most iconic buildings in Miami, like from Miami Vice.
Okay, right.
They just don't do boring. And Gabellini Shepherd is all about minimalism and luxury. The pedigree is, well, it's undeniable. They're selling a vision of high art.
The brochure says the design is inspired by the flow of water. It describes the building as sculptural and a dialogue between timeless elegance and modern ease. I love that phrase, modern ease. It sounds like you just float through life without ever losing your Wi-Fi signal.
Or spilling your coffee. It's a beautiful sentiment. The idea is that the building should feel organic, like it grew right out of the Intracoastal Waterway. It's supposed to be porous and light. But if we pivot to our confidential update from the site, the reality on the ground feels a little different.
Here is where it gets really interesting. The update doesn't mention a flow of water. It talks about a solid concrete wall.
Right.
So how do you get from sculptural flow to solid wall? Is it just bad construction, or is something else going on?
It's the difference between a bird's eye view rendering and, standing on the street corner. See, when architects design these massive towers, they often present them from angles you'll never actually see.
Like from a helicopter.
Exactly, like from a helicopter 500 feet in the air. From up there, with the perfect lighting, it might look like a wave.
Okay.
But when you're a neighbor living behind it or a pedestrian on Flagler Drive, you aren't seeing the nuance. You're just seeing the mass.
And the report specifically mentions that locals are realizing, just now as that 6th floor goes up, that once this thing tops out, the breeze and the open sky views they're used to, they're just gone. Forever.
That is the trade-off of density. West Palm Beach is booming, and Olara is a prime example of that boom. It's located right on Flagler Drive, overlooking the water. It's prime real estate.
The best.
But maximize that value, you have to build big. You have to pack in the units.
Yeah.
And when you build that big, you change the microclimate of the neighborhood. That flow of water metaphor in the brochure is clashing with the physics of a giant concrete slab blocking the wind.
It's interesting you mentioned packing in units, because that leads us directly to the next conflict. We've talked about the outside of the building. Let's talk about the people inside.
Oh, yes.
Because the social dynamics here, they sound like a drama series waiting to happen.
This is one of those details that you really have to dig for. If you just glance at the marketing, you see residences,
Yeah.
you see a price tag starting at $1.7 million.
Right.
You just assume this is an exclusive enclave for buyers.
Right. It's pitched as an unrivaled address. And $1.7 million is just the entry price, folks. We're talking serious wealth. But the confidential update reveals a twist that I honestly did not see coming.
The rental secret.
Yes, the rental secret. Apparently, there is a dedicated luxury rental tower sitting right next to the condo tower.
275 units.
275 units. Now, hold on. Why would a developer pitch this as an ultra-exclusive buy-in paradise and then stick a massive rental building right next to it?
It's pure economics. It diversifies the developer's income stream.
Mhm.
You get the big lump sums from the condo sales, but then you get that long-term steady cash flow from the rentals.
Okay, that makes sense.
But you're right to flag it, because it raises a massive question about the social ecosystem of the development. In real estate, mixing high-end ownership with high-volume rentals is always a delicate balancing act.
The update calls it the upstairs-downstairs drama, and I can see why. You have people who have put down millions of dollars for a permanent home. They're expecting a certain level of, let's be honest, gatekeeping.
Of course.
And then right next door, you have 275 units of, well, potentially transient neighbors.
It creates a fascinating social divide. The big question buzzing around, according to our source, is all about access. Will the renters get the same access to the amenities as the owners?
Oh, wow. I can just imagine that board meeting. Excuse me, I paid $3 million for this view. Why is the rental tower using all the pool chairs?
It sounds petty, but it's a legitimate point of friction in these types of developments.
Mm-hmm.
Luxury rentals attract a different demographic, maybe younger, maybe shorter term.
Right, maybe they're there for a 6-month party.
Or a corporate assignment.
Yeah.
Exactly. Owners are usually looking for stability, quiet, and community. When you mix those two populations in a shared space, specifically sharing a pool or a wellness center, you are engineering a potential social clash.
It's like the White Lotus, but in West Palm Beach.
It is, precisely. And it changes the value proposition. If you are buying exclusivity, but the amenities are shared with 275 rental units, is it really exclusive?
Or is it just expensive?
That's the question.
The $1 million question, or the $1.7 million question, I guess. And speaking of shared spaces, let's talk about the scale of what they're offering. Because even with the renters, there seems to be a lot of space to go around. The brochure claims, get this, 80,000 square feet of amenities.
That is enormous. I mean, for context, a standard football field is roughly 57,000 square feet.
No.
So this is significantly larger than a football field dedicated entirely to wellness and leisure.
The list is exhaustive. A 5-star spa, a waterfront pool, and what they call transformative wellness spaces. The marketing copy says these spaces are designed to restore, connect, and inspire.
It's very ambitious. They are trying to create a self-contained resort. The idea is that you never actually have to leave Olara.
The vertical village.
Exactly, the vertical village concept. You have your gym, your spa, your social spaces all on site.
But let's pause on the village idea. Because if you have 275 rental units plus the condo owners, that village is getting pretty populated. 80,000 square feet sounds like a lot, but is it enough when you have two distinct populations fighting for the same treadmill?
That is the challenge. Amenities are great on paper, but operationally, they're choke points. And there is one amenity here that is the ultimate choke point.
Oh!
The brochure invites residents to set sail from a private marina.
Ah, yes. The marina. Now, I'm not a boater, but I know Florida. If we connect this to the bigger picture of South Florida real estate, is this just a nice perk, or is it something more?
Oh, it's so much more than a perk. It's the golden ticket. Access to the intracoastal waterway is the defining feature of wealth in this specific market.
Okay.
But here's the catch, and our confidential update highlights as brilliantly slips, are practically impossible to get.
The report calls it the ghost marina.
That's a powerful term, isn't
The
it?
ghost marina, meaning it doesn't exist, or it's haunted.
No, not haunted. It means it exists physically. But for a new buyer walking in today, it might as well be a phantom. The supply of boat slips in West Palm Beach is incredibly finite. You
Right.
can build more condos, you can build higher towers, you cannot easily build more water frontage for a marina. Environmental regulations and just simple geography make it impossible.
So the brochure says set sail, but the reality is get in line.
Exactly. And the line doesn't move. The update suggests that slips in this area are dead assets, meaning they never trade hands. People hold on to them effectively forever.
So wait, are you saying in the hierarchy of assets here, the $5 million penthouse is actually the easier thing to buy?
Without a doubt. In South Florida waterfront real estate, the condo is just the admission ticket, the boat slip. That's the VIP pass.
Wow.
And right now, there are no passes left.
Yeah.
The rumor mentioned in the update is that the boat access might actually be more valuable than the penthouses themselves. It becomes the ultimate status symbol. If you have a condo, great, you have money. If you have slip, you have power, you have access.
That is wild to think about. You spend millions on a home, but the real asset is the parking spot for your boat.
It's simple supply and demand. The condo market can get saturated. The marina market, in a prime location like Flagler Drive, is almost totally inelastic. There's just no more room.
Okay, so let's review the scorecard here. We have the concrete wall blocking the view, the renter drama potentially crowding the pool, and the impossible to get marina. But surely there's a silver lining.
I think so.
I mean, we have to eat. And the brochure makes a huge deal out of the dining.
They have certainly pulled out all the stops for dining. This isn't just a coffee shop in the lobby.
No, they really went for it. The brochure is very proud of this. A signature restaurant by chef José Andrés.
That is a massive coup for the development.
Mhm.
José Andrés is a global icon. Michelin stars, humanitarian work. He brings a level of prestige that few other chefs can match.
And the marketing says this is his first time bringing his artistry to the Palm Beaches. It's billed as an immersive experience with global flavors. I'm already hungry just thinking about it.
It signals that Olara wants to be a destination, not just a residence. They want to be on the culinary map. Having a name like José Andrés anchors the building as a cultural hotspot. It tells the world, we have arrived.
But, and you know there's a but coming, because usually when something becomes a hotspot, it stops being a sanctuary.
Precisely. And the confidential update flags this as the traffic trap.
The traffic trap. Break that down for me.
Well, think about the logistics. A restaurant of that caliber, with a celebrity chef, it cannot survive on residents alone. It needs to be open to the public.
Sure.
It needs to be packed every single night to be profitable and to maintain its buzz.
So picture this. You've just bought your private, unrivaled sanctuary. You've had a long week. You're coming home expecting that coastal calm the brochure promised. You pull up to the driveway.
And you're sitting in a line of Ubers, valet chaos, delivery trucks, and dinner traffic. The update says the quiet, private driveway is likely going to be packed every night.
That creates a real conflict, doesn't it? You want the prestige of the restaurant, but you don't want the people who eat there.
It's a classic conflict in mixed-use luxury developments. It sounds great at a cocktail party to say, oh yes, Jose is cooking downstairs. It raises your property value on paper, but functionally. You don't want the traffic that comes with it.
It totally disrupts the serenity of waterfront living that they pitch in the brochure. It's hard to feel serene when someone is honking at a delivery truck in your driveway because they're late for their reservation.
It raises a really interesting point about what luxury actually means today. Is luxury about isolation and privacy, or is it about access and energy? Olara is trying to do both. It wants to be a private sanctuary and a public destination.
Yeah.
And usually those two things don't sit well together. You can't have a buzzing public hotspot that also feels like a private retreat.
It seems like every pro in the brochure has a corresponding con in the reality check. The scale gives you amenities, but it creates a concrete curtain. The mixed-use aspect gives you a lively community, but brings in renters and traffic. It feels like a paradox.
That's the nature of these mega projects.
Yeah.
They're ecosystems. And like any ecosystem, they're messy. The marketing strips away the messiness. It presents a curated, static image of perfection.
Right.
But a building is a living thing. It has traffic flows, social hierarchies, shadow lines, wind tunnels.
So let's zoom out. We've looked at the brochure. We've looked at the boots-on-the-ground reality. What does this all mean for the person looking at Olara? Or really for anyone looking at a major development like this?
I think it means you have to learn to read between the lines of the rendering. When you see Transformative Wellness Center, you have to ask yourself, who else is using it?
Yeah.
Is it just me and my neighbors, or is it 300 other people? When you see signature public dining, ask,
Mm.
where are those cars parking?
Mm.
Is that valet stand under my bedroom window?
And when you see private marina, ask, is there actually a slip for me or just a picture of a boat?
Exactly. The brochure sells the feeling of the lifestyle, the soul of a luxury resort, as they put it. But you don't live in the soul. You live in the physical structure.
Good point.
And the physical structure involves concrete, neighbors, and traffic jams.
It's a fascinating contrast. On one hand, Olara is undeniably impressive. I mean, 80,000 square feet of amenities, Chef José Andrés, a prime location on the water. It's a masterpiece of ambition. I don't want to sound like we're just trashing it,
Oh, not at all.
because it is going to be a landmark.
Without a doubt. It will define the West Palm Beach skyline for the next 50 years. It brings a level of design and culinary excellence that the area wants. But for the people living there or living next to it, the day-to-day reality is going to be more complex than the flow of water narrative suggests.
It reminds me that when you buy into a development this big, you aren't just buying a condo. You're buying into a massive logistical operation.
You are. You're joining a community that includes wealthy owners, short-term renters, restaurant patrons, valet drivers, and frustrated neighbors who lost their breeze. It's a city within a city.
Yeah.
And cities are noisy, crowded, and complicated.
So if you're the listener, standing there with $1.7 million burning a hole in your pocket.
You have to look past the rendering, you have to walk the site, you have to feel the scale of that concrete wall, and you have to decide if the trade-offs, the traffic, the density, the shared spaces are worth the amenities and the prestige. For many people, they absolutely will be. But you have to go in with your eyes open, not just dazzled by the brochure.
It really is a tale of two towers. The one in the brochure, sort of floating on air, and the one on Flagler Drive, made of concrete and steel.
And as of February 2026, the concrete one is the one winning.
Well, there you have it. A deep dive into Olara. It's beautiful, it's complicated, and it's rising fast.
Indeed it is.
Before we go, here's something to chew on. We talked about how the boat slips are harder to get than the actual apartments. It makes you wonder, in a development like this, are you actually buying a home? Or are you just buying a very expensive ticket to stand in line for the real luxury assets?
That is the question.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.